As I said in part 1, geographically, there are no enemies on the American continent. To the north is democratic Canada. To the south is the economically weak democratic Mexico. To the east, there is only fish, and to the west, there is only fish too. There are no hostile countries on the borders of the United States. On the other hand, China and Russia have borders with many hostile countries. And if we look at history, there have been a lot of conflicts with neighboring countries. In that respect, the United States has the greatest geopolitical advantage. In fact, the territories of the United States and China are similar in size. However, where China's territory cannot match the United States is in the maritime territory. According to the international law of the sea, the territorial sea of each country is 12 nautical miles from the edge of the land. 1 nautical mile is approximately 1,852 meters. The territorial sea is recognized as up to 22 kilometers from the edge of the land. A limit of 12 nautical miles in every direction is applied. And 200 nautical miles from the coast is called the Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ. Ships from other countries can pass through the EEZ without permission. However, ships from other countries cannot catch fish in the EEZ. Because catching fish is an economic activity. An even greater benefit of the exclusive economic zone is the seabed resources. If there is an oil field under the sea and there are special minerals that are valuable, these are owned by the country that has jurisdiction over the EEZ. In the area of this exclusive economic zone, China can hardly match the United States. The United States' coastline is 13 times longer than China's. The United States ranks first in the EEZ area, followed by France.
They each own over 11.5 million square kilometers. The reason France has a wide exclusive economic zone is because many island countries were colonized by France during the imperial era. The current French government gave the former colonies autonomy and various benefits such as French suffrage and the right to move to France, and left them as French territory so that they could govern themselves.
So there are very small islands that are part of France in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. However, although the territorial area is similar to that of the United States, its quality is significantly lower. Because most of the maritime territories of the United States are attached to the territorial waters connected to the land of the United States, they are the country's front yard. If the US wants to develop this territory, it can do it right away.
France's territories are in the middle of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans where you have to travel a long way by boat. But the United States are right off the coast of the United States. However, China's economic zone is small compared to its land area. China's economic zone is only 880,000 square kilometers. China's land area is the fourth largest in the world, but the area of its economic zone is 33rd in the world.
As an island country, Japan has a very wide EEZ, 4.5 million square kilometers, and is ranked 8th in the world. China accounts for only 20% of Japan's EEZ area. China's land area is more than 40 times that of the Korean Peninsula, but its maritime territory is less than twice that of the Korean Peninsula. The Korean Peninsula has an EEZ of 475,000 square kilometers because it is surrounded by sea on 3 sides.
This reality is very painful for China. The United States continues to expand. Even if it owns 11.5 million kilometers of maritime territory, it is not enough. It reminds me of a rich man's continued greed. After the United States gained independence from Britain in 1783, the basic line of American foreign policy that the United States has chosen for over 100 years has been the policy of isolation. The policy of isolation was the will of the first president, George Washington. It means not getting too involved in the affairs of foreign countries or allies and not being interested in them. James Monroe, the fifth president of the United States, made a more specific, clear-shot announcement. The United States would not interfere with the affairs of the European continent, and the European powers were told not to meddle in American affairs. That policy was called Monroeism. The president told Europe not to colonize the American continent anymore. In 1823, Monroe sent the policy to Congress, where it was declared in an annual letter. Declaring Monroeism was like a challenge to the European powers, rather than a simple proclamation of isolationism. The policy was telling Europe not to meddle in what the United States was doing on the American continent, because the US would not meddle in Asia or Africa to fight for colonies and engage in imperialism. The United States controlled most of the North American continent, and Monroeism said that it would become the leading countries. However, it was the United States themselves who first went against the Monroeism that they had declared. The United States was at war with Spain in 1898. Since the place where the war was fought was Cuba, which was directly south of the United States, it can be argued that the United States was within its territory, so it did not deviate from Monroeism. However, through this war, the United States not only placed the entire Caribbean Sea within its sphere of influence, but also took possession of the Philippines, which was a Spanish colony in Asia at the time. The Pacific era was ushered in as the United States finally gained influence in Asia as well. And in 1900, the US annexed Hawaii. The white people who overthrew the Hawaiian monarchy and founded the Republic were incorporated into the United States in the form of voluntary contributions. As anyone could see, America was supporting white people. It was the opening of the Panama Canal that made the US maritime dominance stronger.
After the Civil War, the United States developed its economy rapidly. The East and West Coasts developed uniformly. So there were a lot of products to trade with each other. The Transcontinental Railroad alone could not meet the demand for these logistics. So goods were also shipped by sea, but the route was too long.
It cost too much time and money to go from New York to San Francisco. At that time, the only way to get from New York to San Francisco was to go to the southern end of the South American continent and then back through the Drake Passage. So the United States decided to build the Panama Canal to save 15,000 kilometers from New York to San Francisco and a lot of time.
The Panama Canal construction had been attempted and stopped by France in the past. Endemic and infectious diseases such as yellow fever and malaria were so severe that many workers died, so they gave up. The United States bought the right to build the canal from France. Military purposes further accelerated the United States' will to open the Panama Canal.
The United States, which advanced into the Pacific Ocean through the war with Spain, had a plan to jointly operate the Atlantic and Pacific fleets in case of emergency. Thank you for watching the video, America's Control of Sea and Land Across the Globe Part 2, provided by History and Current Events. I'm Rebecca, Mia, Katie, Leah, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.